Hello and welcome to the channel, everybody. In this video I'm going to be modifying my Fanatec McLaren GT3 V2 wheel. One of the common things people complain about with this wheel are these shifters. Me personally, I don't mind it too much. It does have a bit of force in its actuation, but I don't mind that so much. And the one thing I do actually like about this paddle is you can upshift and downshift with one hand, which unfortunately I will not be able to do any longer, because today we're pulling apart this and we're putting on the SimMakerz magnetic paddle shifters. As you can see, this is a combination between real carbon fiber on here, and here. This looks to be carbon fiber, but it isn't. This is 3D printed here. The main structure of this is 3D printed, but it has a carbon fiber sticker on it to make it look like carbon fiber. On the back here, you can see you do have a bit of adjustment in the in and out of the paddle. It does give a pretty nice click, not as much force as the original McLaren magnetic paddle shifters, but most people probably don't want that. Now, before I get into pulling my wheel apart, I've been playing around with these shifters a little bit, and I've kind of got a problem with them. I don't know whether it's just mine. I don't know whether all are like this. That's kind of the problem with this, kind of the small batch manufacturers that do stuff like this. I don't know whether it's just these or this one or not. Well, my other ones like it as well, but I assume these came from the same batch. Now let me show you the problem I'm having here. Now, in here you can see the little red micro switch there. When I do a light little press, it's actually not quite hitting, but there's a stopping point there. And if you look closely here, you'll see that where this magnet is kind of wedged in between these two carbon fiber pieces, you'll see that whole thing moving. The gap on this particular carbon fiber panel is a little bit too big, at least to allow this carbon fiber piece that has the magnet on it to move back a little bit too far. Now, if this part of the carbon fiber didn't come over so much and just went inwards more, where I can actually push this, you can see the movement. If I push that all the way forward, all of a sudden I've got one nice clean sweep. But I assume over time that's actually going to move to either the middle or the back, and then all of a sudden you have like a two-stage shifter, which you could potentially miss shifts, because when I push down I got a stopping point that doesn't quite hit the micro switch, which is a little annoying. So I think what needs to happen here is this carbon fiber panel just needs to be filled up a little bit more at the end. Now I could probably do that myself. It would be as simple as just undoing these three screws and wrapping that top piece in something to stop that from moving so much, because we really want to jam that this way as much as possible so you get the nice clean sweep that it's probably initially manufactured to have, but for some reason when you move it back that creates too much play, and it just moves too much. So that's a little annoying for me. I haven't seen anyone else complain about this. Maybe I'm picky, but I don't think I am. That's too much play, in my opinion. At the moment, let's install it. I will push it forward for now, and I'll see if this actually moves backwards after a bit of sim racing. Maybe it won't move at all. Let's put these on anyway. The reason I'm actually switching out this is, I don't know if you can hear it, but this is my up paddle and this is my down paddle. Oh wait, it's not doing it. It was doing it just a second ago. But sometimes anyway, this down pedal stops working for me. Like, I don't know if the magnets move or something, and the shifting downwards is an issue. I did contact Fanatec about this because it was under warranty, and Fanatec said send it in for fixing, and I said okay, and I ordered these. I decided I didn't want to send it back to be replaced. I would prefer to just change the paddles altogether. So let's just do that now. I'm wearing my official McLaren mechanic cap, and by wearing this, it will allow me to do all this and not break anything, and it will work 100% after I'm done. Alright, so the first thing I'm doing here is popping off all the button caps, because my wheel has the button caps, yours may not, and then I'm pulling off those little red uppy and downies, and then there's 8mm bolt there and some washers behind it that I'm using a little magnet tool on the end of my screwdriver to get out. And then I'm popping off the rotary encoders. Behind those rotary encoders are also some washers. As you can see, I'm placing everything on the side pretty much as it comes out, so I know where to put it. Then undoing all the T10 screws on the faceplate of the wheel. And then that allows it to come off. I turn the wheel upside down so that none of the buttons come out and everything goes into its same place. I find that's probably the best way to do it. And then there's some Phillips head screwdriver screws holding the circuit board in. So undo all of those, including the one in the middle at the bottom under one of the electrical wires. And then there's also the LCD 2 screws as well. Don't forget those 2 screws at the bottom of the LCD. Then once you get the circuit board down, then there's another 2 small Phillips head screws holding the pin in that holds the paddle, and that's quite difficult to get out. As you can see, I'm trying to do here. I'm a little stumped on this one at this time, and then I managed to get it out with a tool, and then just popping that pin out with some pliers actually. Once that pin's out, that whole paddle will just come off, and then you got to push those magnets through from the back end. Then you'll make yourself some holes that you can put your new wires through for your magnetic shifters. I did do this at this stage, but I probably recommend doing this before now. That was probably a bit of a stuff up on my part. I probably should have undone the top 4 of those Allen key bolts for that quick release, probably before I took the faceplate off. but that's just what I did. I then pulled out all the rubbers because your new SimMakerz shifters go over that gap. So if you've still got the rubbers in, it's not going to sit down properly, so you need to pull those out. And then I put in all the quick release screws finger tight, not very tight at all, and then in the bag it comes with 4 screws to put the carbon fiber piece on with. Again, I just do this kind of finger tight at this stage. I don't go too far with it, just so it's pretty much sits in and doesn't really move too much, and then I'll tighten that up later once everything's all back together. Now you've got these wires that you need to pull through. Don't let it jam on anything. It does have to be in there without crimping itself. Keep in mind, if the little high torque pin behind the circuit board fell out when you were doing this, you need to put that back in at this stage. And then put on all the Phillips head screws again onto the circuit board. Not forgetting the 2 little LCD Phillips head screws, and also the screw under the ribbon at the bottom. One thing I probably wish I did before putting the circuit board back on was putting the pin back in, because then you've got a hole if you don't. After screwing the circuit board in, I then pulled out the old shifter wires and then put in the new shifter wires and hid the old shifter wires just in any gap, really, and that should be fine. Then I tip it upside down so the buttons don't come out. Keep in mind, the buttons need to be in a certain direction so that the board, the front faceplate goes back in. I was having issues here. I didn't think the board was back in properly, but turns out the buttons weren't quite centered, and that was actually stopping the faceplate from going on. So definitely look at that. If yours isn't going back on, just move the buttons around. It should just seat itself up quite well afterwards. Then just putting in the T10s to the face, and then putting back the rotary encoders with the 13mm that you require, and the little uppy and downies, which is the 8mm. Of course, making sure that all the washers are in behind the same way you got them out. And then once you get your 8mm on there, then you can put all your rubber bits back on top of them. I recommend putting probably the red part on first and then putting the black rubber over the top. And check to make sure everything's all working properly. Put on your button caps, and then go back over and tighten up all your quick release screws and your screw for the shifters. And after that, you're pretty much done. To the sim. We are in ACC trying out the new SimMakerz shifters. we are in the Porsche at Watkins Glen. Just for a few laps. I do want to see whether I notice that little play in the shifters that I was talking about before. Missed the apex there. And saying that, tyres are a bit cold at the moment. Now at the moment, I have positioned the shifters so that that little magnet is to the point where it doesn't really move. I'm curious to see whether that does move over a bit more and then provide that play that I was showing you at the start of the video. Oh, cold tires, cold tires. But at the moment, it feels pretty good. Initial impressions is not as much force as I'm used to on this particular wheel. Initially, like, because I know I'm on the McLaren wheel, I want to hit the shifter really hard, but I know I don't have to now. Obviously a smoother shifter than that metal textured feeling you got with the big paddle. Alright, so far so good. The shifters seem to be just working with one click.
Well done, mate. The fastest step so far.
I don't feel like the double shift thing at the moment. As I said, I did push the magnets to where they weren't double clicking. Looks, just feeling it, it looks like it's moved a touch, but not a lot. If I pull them out, I wonder if I feel it. Not, yeah, I do, it definitely doesn't feel as good. Whether that would cause me to miss shift, I don't know. I obviously would prefer if the play wasn't there. Yeah, I'm gonna push it back now. Yeah, I don't know, it doesn't seem to be moving too much. It is moving, but while I am racing, I can push that magnet back up if it does move. I'll probably end up putting something in there to stop it from moving backwards. I'll figure something out. I may also talk to them and see whether that's just mine or whether this is just how they are. Thanks for watching the video, everybody. I'll potentially keep you updated with what's going on with that movement there and the part double stage shift thing, maybe. Yes, it does feel better than what the original one was, the big paddle. I'm definitely keeping them on. I'm not going to take them off. Overall, I do like them. Just wish there wasn't that play there. So thanks for watching this video, everybody. Hit that like button if you liked it. Subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next video.